Okay, up next we have Clara Race, ambassador, author, educator, dancer, motivated woman. Let's welcome Clara Race.
I got it. Oh, freedom, oh, freedom over me. And before I'd be a slave, I'd be buried in my grave and go home to my Lord and be free. Oh, freedom, oh, freedom, oh, freedom over me. And before I be a slave, I'd be buried in my grave and go home to my Lord and be free. If we must die, let it not be like hogs, hunted and penned in an inglorious plot, while round us bark the mad, hungry dogs, making their mark at our accursed lot. If we must die, oh, let us nobly die, so that our precious blood might not be shed in vain. Then, even the monsters we defy shall be constrained to honor us, though dead. O kinsmen, we must meet our common foe. The far outnumbered, let us show us brave, and for their thousands blows, one death blow. What before us lies an open grave? Like men, we'll face the murderous, cowardly pack, pressed to the walls, dying, but fighting back. One Bushman asked me to come to this production or presentation. I didn't know which direction to go. And then I was inspired by a friend in the car this afternoon. And she said, tell that story. So what I'm going to share with you basically, I know we've all grown up hearing Marcus, Malcolm, and civil rights moments, and somehow until we actually feel what it means to be deprived, that sense of freedom, you don't know till you know. Living in South Africa was the first time for me that I really experienced the idea of what it meant not to be free. The idea that I wanted to say or dance or run or jump was no longer a possibility, that I had to think very carefully how I was going to do this. Otherwise, my life would be at stake. So, everything I had known until that moment stopped. Everything shifted. You know, nothing had happened to me before where you feel the earth shake, but the earth is not an earthquake. Where you feel inside your body a cosmic shift. Literally, you feel your mind bending because what your body is confronted for in the first time is something that's really magnificent and real. When I landed in South Africa for the first time, I took it for granted that it was an easy trip. You know, call your friends and pick you up and everything. And it was only after a couple of days when I realized how many insurmountable obstacles, that was a matter of fact a black man or any black family living in South Africa at the time, how many maneuvering and all kind of transitions they had to do just to come to the airport to pick me up. And I fell asleep in the car, my knee dropped, shifted on the gear shift, and mashed up the man gearbox. And we waited for a very long time there on the highway until somebody else could come and pick us up. It wasn't like I hadn't done my homework in preparing to South Africa in 1989. Still, reality is exactly that. It isn't real until you live that moment. And it was only then when I've been there for a while, I realized how difficult it was to be a black person and have a car, to drive all the way from Soweto, go to the city, go to the airport, pick up somebody, and hope you get back in one piece. That you're not stopped by the police, that you're not stopped by the army, that you have every document in place that will allow you to get back to where you went. The first time I really felt, oh my God, I'm no longer free, I'm not free. It was the first time we took a train, bus ride from Johannesburg to Zululand. And you had to drive to Durban like 7 to 8 hours and then you go to the countryside. And while we were there in the car, I saw all this amazing, beautiful scenery, landscape, you know, traditional homes, you know, these made out of mud with intricate designs and patterns, and the fields, the long, wide, open fields, and I wanted to stop the car. I said, I want to stop the car and run. Umamuya jabula, umamuya jabula, woman gifige kaya, woman gifige kaya. But I realized I couldn't stop the car because if some poor farmer, some crazy neo-Nazi happened to see me running through his land, his field, I would be shot and dead before the bullet shot into my body. And that's if I was lucky. Some of the other stories that people told me about what happened to them on long journeys were not so pretty. And my friend said, if you're going to the free island state, make sure your car has enough gas, and make sure you get there. Don't stop. Don't let your car break down. Just keep going. Just keep going. So I sat there in this bus, longingly staring at all these amazing imagery whizzing past me, and I just wanted to jump out of the car and run. No, I couldn't do something as simple as run and feel the grass under my feet until the wide open sky. Until that day, and there were so many more moments when I saw big, strapping, royal, regal black men reduced to humbling, bumbling, mumbling friend in front of a little white boy. Yes, my boss. Yeah, hey, my boss. What you say, my boss? Yeah, my boss. And I just standing there want to shout for them and say, you don't have to be that person. I remember people talking about, you know, black people built America. I didn't understand that sentence until I was in South Africa and I saw trucks and loads of black men huddled up under these tarpaulins on a truck, really building South Africa. On Sheila's Day, which is Thursday, all the maids, that would be the day obviously, all the maids, that's only when you saw people in the city. Workers, builders, carpenters. And me there from St. Martin, hard vex. Even courtship was a journey. I mean, not I was in love with the person or anything. He was cute. And that was a journey to go through. I had to talk to my boss, they had to approve. There was issues of money and lobola, how much I'm worth. We really couldn't go out whenever we wanted to with good girls. Each time we went with guys in the company I worked with, I just took it for granted. Nothing with us, it was protection, you know. Then one day we all going to town, me and some girlfriends. And from the corner of my eye, I saw a group of guys, you know, girl stuff around town. And all of a sudden, one just reached out and grabbed one of my friends. And one moment she was all happy and jumping, and she was like, holding her and grabbing her, and she's like lifting her whole body chain from all like this to like this, bend over, trying hard not to let him grab her. And I'm like, wow, did a girl alone? Before I even realized where the slap come from, I feel my face just whip around. And where I was the warrior trying to protect them, they just grabbed my hand. Run, Clara, run, run, Clara, run! And we run through so Johannesburg, Digit, and Dodge until we find a safe place we could go to. And I'm like, what was that? Yeah, but that's how things is. You know, good girls don't want to road alone. If a girl alone on the road, she's easy. She's up for grabs. She gets jack road. Trying to abuse her. Of course, these are some of the stories I never told my mother. When I went to Africa, I had to keep it on the wraps. So the man had some good news and some bad news. Good news, I got a job. If you're a struggling artist living in New York City, you will know what it means to have a steady income. Otherwise, it's always like auditions and stuff. So I was more than happy to call back one next man and say, I have a job. Good news and bad news. Good news is I'm going to make a lot of money. Well, relatively. And she was the bad news. It's in South Africa. You're crazy. They kill black people there. Why are you going? I'm going tomorrow. Yeah, my mother would have been in New York, and I would have been Savannah the next day. I think this idea of living there was, I guess we both went through the journey of discovering what it is to be proud of your freedom. Mobility, song, love, moving. But knowing my mother was there helped keep me alive. Because there were a lot of moments when things were really bad. And I didn't want to die in South Africa and she'll never find my body. Because when you're in the middle of a crowd, you laugh at everybody. Because they don't say, oh, she comes mad. There was a time there was something called a stay away. A stay away was when you have like a national boycott and you're supposed to support the boycott, suffer the consequences. Yeah, wo, lele mama, oh Africa. Oh yeah, ziweni ngotabo, owako waushiyaran. Oh yeah, ziweni ngotabo, owako waushiyaran. We madala, owazungele sum, ziweni ngotabo, owako waushiyaran. This song is talking about necklace. What happens to people who don't support the struggle? If you're caught, you take a rubber tire, you alive, you drape it around your neck, light it a fire with you in it. And this is something I've seen. I remember lying on the floor in Durban, listening to bullets flying at night. My mother not watching CNN. And I would get up the next day and say, I'm okay, I'm alive, it didn't happen where I'm living, I'm fine, everything is good. See, the problem was I told my mother I was going for 6 weeks and I stayed for 2 years. Another time where I was exposed to this moment that you've all seen in books, whites only, white area only. And I was walking on the beach in Durban and I forgot myself. I was on the beach and I was home and I was like, that moment of freedom when I just was walking the beach and I walked from one end all the way down and I'm enjoying and I wanted to see all the black people around me, energy was high. And there was a moment of nothingness. Then there was a moment of what are you looking at? Never said black people before. Then I realized, slechts blanca, white skin. And everybody stopped and looked at me, this black girl, walking in the midst of all the white people in a bathing suit, enjoying herself. And then the looks kind of got weird. I'm like, oh my God, I ain't supposed to be here. I turned around and I went the other way. Wasn't taking no chances. I had to come back in one piece for my mother. But those moments, all of a sudden, it's like you're watching films and you're living life and you're seeing civil rights movement and you're seeing whites only and you're seeing the dog and you're thinking, I'm in the same place, in a different type of history, experience something what some other people, and it's real. Freedom. So how is this freedom story I'm sharing with you relevant to today? Because since I came back, I was lucky enough to be in front of Nelson Mandela House when he was released from prison in Soweto, and Bishop Tutu was standing there and all these African leaders, and I said, I am here at this important moment in history. When I go back to the man, what does that mean? My director, he made everything happen. He was a black man living in a country that if he had a beard, it was considered a threat. It was called a political beard. Young ladies couldn't let their hair grow because all that was too much blackness. But little girls used to walk with no hairs on their head, nobody shut their hair shorn. When I went there, I was happy to share how to guinea. They didn't know how to guinea. I went to Africa to teach people how to plait their hair. But this was a man that taught me how I must survive under all circumstances and just deliver. Because this was a man who negotiated with a security guard in the market theater so he can be the artist. So he would discuss, okay, at night I'm going to sleep here. But to circumvent the country where he wasn't free to move around, he put on a black pants, a white shirt, a clipboard under his armpit, 2 pencils in his pocket. And that was his camouflage. That's how he beat the system. Because each of the white policemen saw him, they didn't bother him. Oh, he must be white, working for a white man. He had a uniform, so he's okay. But if he didn't look the part, he was picked up just like that. One of my best friends went to school at Adelaide, New York. She just came back home, and she, like me, lived in happy freedom. And when she walked into Johannesburg, and she saw the policeman coming at her, a black policeman, and she tried to give him his autograph, and he scoops her up and throws her in the back of the truck because she don't have a pass. Where is your pass? Oh, but I am back home. I was in New York. Where is your pass? And just like they grabbed her in her little white dress, she just came back from the city, and she wanted to be so happy. Where is your pass? What? And back in the truck she went. And all the other people who was in the back, they were like, oh, my sissy, my sissy. Oh, you must not be here. And she didn't even know how to remember how to react. But the other policemen recognized her. And when the truck passed a certain place, they go, run, 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 my sister, run. So many of us are born in a time we just take freedom for granted. They're there. You know? There was a story of this play I saw about a play called My Children, My Africa. This amazing actor, John Kyle. And in the play he's talking about, you know, education will set you free. And the kids are fighting and fighting and running around the building. And women, Africans, come to school, my children. Come to school, my children. No, professor, we have to fight for freedom. Come to school, my children. Come to school, my children. And they don't want to because they have to burn down apartheid system. And at the same time, he's running around, burning down buildings. Teacher, teacher, how do you spell liberation? So my story is this. We have everything available to us. We have no laws that restrict us from going from cul-de-sac to Rambo, to Lodge Quarter, to Summer Garden. Nothing to stop us from crossing the border. And yet, children are in school. Nowadays, it seems like the rallying song that women dance into is take body girl, cock it up, cock it up. And it has become so ridiculous that a guy who was checking me out, this was his opening phrase to me. So, but last I take a back shot. Okay. That didn't happen, you know. I mean, really, with all the things we went through, with all the things we came from, with all the people that fight for us, died for us, this is the legacy. Young wine, slam Bajay, walk it. I mean, have we just come walking vaginas for men to ride us at will? That's what Nani Columns fought for. So Jonah, yeah, Sasiya, Solitude. That's what Bob, Marcus, Malcolm, Stephen, Nelson. Take body up, take body up. Cock it up, back it up, back it up. For freedom. I remember one day one of my friends told me that this guy actually walked up to her. I'm going to China and say, y'all, that pussy mine. Mine on that. Just a reminder, we have a lot of educating to do for ourselves, for our community, for our family. We have to tell everybody that this freedom thing is too precious. And that those that came before us, we need to sing their songs, tell their stories, put it on everybody's lips. Thank you.
Inspiring. My daughter said when you started the story about South Africa, she said, you know, Mommy, I really want to go to South Africa. I've been hearing good things about South Africa. But to the end, she said, I don't think I want to go. So I have some convincing